Yo guys, what's going on? I'm Keegan. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to hit that subscribe button and leave your opinions down there in the comment section. Blink-182. 9. Blink-182 is a punk rock band formed way back in 1992. Selling over 50 million records worldwide, Blink-182 have gained a name for themselves as one of the most recognizable and notable punk rock bands of all time, with their fast-paced punk rock sound, but a nice melding of pop melodies and radio accessibility. Following the exit of Blink's main singer and songwriter Tom DeLonge, Mark and Travis picked up Alkaline Trio singer Matt Skiba in 2015, and Blink have been continuing to record music with Matt since, this record being their second album with him. This album I'm reviewing is supposed to be their 9th studio album, and as not so subtly hinted by the album title, but in all honesty, I don't consider Buddha to be a record, and most people I know who do listen to Blink don't even know of that project's existence. So it's their 8th record in my eyes, unfortunately. We'll start this review off with the singles, with there being 5 of them. The debut single was Blame It On My Youth, which really feels like a bland generic pop song to me. It didn't leave a good impression on first listen, and coming back to it for this album, I think I've definitely warmed up to it, but still not enough to completely enjoy it. The chanting vocals on the hook really sell the song to the radio. I do think the lyrical content has this nice nostalgic note to it, mentioning all the stuff they did as little kids and how to blame their current selves on their youth, which is pretty empowering. While it is fine, I don't think it's worth keeping around. The second single, Generational Divide, was such a massive switch from Blame It On My Youth. It's so fast and so aggressive. It's strangely entrancing as well. However, it's extremely short, not even cracking a minute in length, which, in all honesty, I think it's for the best. The song would have been such a sore standout if it was a full track. I'm glad it was shortened to sound like more of an interlude, but I can only imagine what it would sound like if it was longer. It would have been great. However, with what this is, it's fine. It's still a better single than Blame It On My Youth. The third single, Happy Days, feels extremely similar to Blame It On My Youth, but I think I prefer that song to this one. Lyrically, it's basically about trying to leave the past behind and finding happier days, which is a nice message, but doesn't quite catch that same punk soul and emotion that the message of Blame It On My Youth has. Travis's thundering drums really carry this song, and in some parts they just overpower Mark's vocals entirely, making the song feel extremely lopsided, and also poorly mixed. This one's a definite pass for me. The fourth single, Darkside, was the single that absolutely got me sold for this album. This sounds fantastic. No poor mixing, it's that perfect mix of aggressive, powerful, shocking punk that's a little bit too much for standard pop radio, but still contains enough melody and lyrical content to where it's not completely punk. It's just such a perfect balance. Both vocalists give a wonderful performance, especially Matt hollering on the hook. Also, I feel like I have to point this out, but please listen to this on streaming services, not YouTube, as the music video is just ugh. But yeah, this song's a keeper. If you're into older Blink-182, this will definitely be one of the newer good songs to listen to. Absolutely check this one out. And the fifth and final single, I Really Wish I Hated You, is a little bit of a weird song. The instrumental is extremely quiet until it explodes on the second half of the chorus. The lyrical content is also extremely pessimistic and angry, with Mark singing fairly monotone about how he wishes how he hates this person, and how he doesn't like himself without them. Which the instrumental really doesn't contribute much to that tone. I don't know. It's a fine song, but it just feels lacking. So yeah, the singles aside from Darkside really didn't get me too excited for this album. Now for the rest of the songs. The First Time, the opener, really sets this album into motion on a positive note. The song really has that punk tinge to it that Blink was known for on some of their previous songs, but with a little bit more of a rock accent this time around. It does feel a little bit weird to hear Matt on a song like this, but he still does sound nice. Lyrically, it's about how the first of anything, whether it's beer, pills, or even the first ray of light in the day, is always the best because it sets everything into motion. This is a good song, I recommend it. Heaven is a very two-faced song. It has this upbeat, positive, jamming instrumental, but the lyrics are extremely melancholic, angry, and negative. Basically about this guy who's slowly falling apart and sets fire to their significant other person's house, and how they've accepted that heaven doesn't want them anymore. Mark's more desperate voice really makes this song as emotional as it is, along with the sing-songy chorus, which is still nice against the more rock-fueled instrumental. I like this song too. I think I'm going to keep this one around. Runaway has this slight rap tinge to it, especially on the verses, where Mark and Matt rap sing their lines, and also switch back and forth a few times throughout the song. It's actually very engaging. Matt's always excelled on hooks and choruses for me, and this song is a prime example of it. His shouting gives this song the energy boost it desperately needs, since the instrumental on the verses is a little bit scant and boring, and lackluster. So it really builds up to this climax on the hook. I don't mind this song, I think it's fine. Black Rain opens up with Matt doing his best Brendan Urie impression. Aside from that, the song as a whole is actually pretty calm and relaxing. It's not even a slow ballad or anything, it's just a soothing song with a good kick and energy in the verses. Despite being a bit of a shorter song, it definitely doesn't feel like it. The instrumental is engaging, and Matt's singing is very nice, despite not seeming like it fully fits in. I don't mind this one either. Pin the Grenade has a very similar aesthetic to Darkside, but it doesn't have the same level of flair and passion that Darkside has. Does not mean it's a bad song in the slightest. It's probably one of my favorites from this album in all honesty. The instrumental is very punchy, and Mark's vocals feel lively and captivating. The hook is also one of the most catchy hooks on this album. Just like Darkside, this is the kind of style that Matt sounds fantastic over. As I mentioned, one of the best on this album. No Heart to Speak Of is probably the most angry song on this album, with Matt reminiscing about his past relationship and how he remembers the words they said. Now he's dying on the bathroom floor and understands that they had no heart to speak of in the first place. Matt sells this song completely, with his heart-wrenching screams on the chorus just filled with this broken, torn feeling. It's almost painful to listen to, especially when combined with a very brash instrumental. It's a very powerful song, and I love it. Ransom, much like Generational Divide, is a very short song, clocking in at 1 minute and 25 seconds, and feeling more like a little interlude than an actual song. However, unlike Generational Divide, it's not nearly as in-your-face except for the latter half of the song, which just explodes like an atom bomb. As previously mentioned, this really does feel like an interlude, and it also doesn't really fit in well with the rest of the album, so this is probably a skippable moment for me. On Some Emo Shit, aside from being an awesome title for a song, is another very good song from this album. Lyrically, it's about seeing someone for the last time, essentially gone missing, remembering all the good times and how everything is so shitty nowadays. Travis's powerful, commanding drums are especially strong this time around, and the song as a whole reminds me of older Blink with how it's structured. Very good song. It's catchy, it's a mood, and I love it. Hungover You starts up like this Latin pop song, even with Matt rolling his B as heavily as it does on this song, almost made me wonder if I was listening to a Latin song. The chorus is actually surprisingly heavy, especially how punchy and slow it is, almost reminding me of a Disturbed song. The song just feels lacking everywhere else though, especially the verses where the guitar is very muted and the percussion sounds extremely produced. And then the chorus just comes rushing like a bat out of hell. This one's a pass for me. And finally, the closer, Remember to Forget Me, is a traditional slower song at the end, and wow, this one is tough. Way more tough than No Heart to Speak Of. The same broken vocals come from both singers this time around, and the soul, melancholic acoustic guitar paired with the skittering percussion is a lot more moody than it sounds. My only problem with this song is I think it would have been a bit more powerful if it remained acoustic the entire time. The sweeping instrumental in the second chorus really kind of kills the mood of the song. But aside from that one little nitpick, it's a tough song and I love it. Easily one of my favorites. Overall, while the singles were for the most part extremely underwhelming, didn't give me much hope for this album, a good majority of the songs here are fairly good and add to that nice bit of nostalgia to older Blink-182. While I wouldn't call it one of their best albums, of course, Blink really bring it through on this one, reinvigorating that spirit of pop-punk most of the time on this record. I'm feeling about a bare 7 out of 10 on this album. Well guys, hope you enjoyed that review. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.